Blast me to the mortal realms. It's time for the Mad Merlins review of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer issues 40 and 41, The Spirit of Durthu, by Hachette Partworks and Warhammer. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer review. And it's a bumper issue, so we've got parts 1 and 2 of the Spirit of Durthu. So our mighty Tree Lord here, that will be our centerpiece model for the Sylvaneth part of our collection. And yeah, he's really cool. Back in the old lore, he used to be a singular creature, but I believe in the Age of Sigmar, multiple Spirits of Durthu can be summoned from one particular grove. So yeah, pretty cool that you can field a mighty collection of these guys. Yeah, we'll learn more about him in the issues. So before we dive in, don't forget to of course like the video if you're enjoying the Stormbringer content, and if you are, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so. If we can get to 500 subscribers by the end of 2023, that would be great. If not, we're going to try and aim for 700, I think, would be nice in next year, 2024. So yeah, we'll see how we grow. The channel is growing. There's going to be a lot of new stuff coming for content-wise. Going to be having a big sort out over Christmas, getting rid of stuff that I don't necessarily need. And yeah, having a good breakdown of my collections and thinking what units I need to keep and what units I'm probably not going to need. So yeah, and don't forget, of course, you can drop a comment down below. Let me know if you've built and painted this guy and how you've gone about it. So without further ado, let's dive into this very special double issue. So I've opened them both off camera, so we have less noise to put up with. We'll empty them out, so 41 and 40. So yeah, 41, we learn about the Spirit of Durthu, the Soulblight Gravelords, and we learn about a campaign known as the Feast of Bones. And in 41, we have second part of Spirit of Durthu. We learn about the realm of metal and the different armies within, and we also learn dry brushing, which we've had a few tutorials of already. So we'll take a look at the issues in a minute, but first off, let's zoom in and take a look at these rather full frames. So here we have the frame from issue 40, and this one contains a majority of the components to make the Tree Lord and Tree Lord Ancient. So we've got the Ancient Staff there, and we've got a lot of the components to make up the body. So we got all the different leg and arm joints. It's a very intricate kit. I've actually built one of these before. I believe I reviewed it before as well when I did the Sylvaneth Get Started box. I got cheap back along when one of my old Games Workshop suppliers sold up. I managed to pick up the Sylvaneth box then. And that included a Tree Lord, which I built as a generic Tree Lord, and built up a nice small Sylvaneth force and sold on eBay. But yeah, different arm components here, depending on the one you build. Parts of the body, nice detailed loincloth for the Tree Lord. I think there's a separate one for Durthu on the second frame. Yeah, lovely detail, plenty of different elements. We've got a beautiful ponytail there for the Tree Lord. Pretty cool. Yeah. Frame is a little warped. Hopefully it's not going to put too much stress on the components. I'm definitely looking forward to building up another one of these Tree Lord kits. We also get a oval base for him to mount on. And our second frame here then has the focus components for 2 other builds. So we got focus components here for the actual generic tree lord with his grasping vines. We also have various different sprites that we can dot across the model. And then we have all the specific components here for the Spirit of Durthu. So we got his sword, his cracked face mask there, the various different bits of tree growth with skulls embedded in. So very awesome model character. I believe he embodies the hunter and trophy gatherer Kurnoth spirit god. So that's why he's dotted with skulls. And yeah, he'll look quite nice, I think, with the Belfanos box that I've got. A unit of Kurnoth hunters of swords would look great teamed up with this guy. So yeah. We'll learn more about the build guide for this in the issues, so let's start looking through those issues. So we'll start with issue 40. So full contents for this issue are the Soulblight Gravelords, the Feast of Bones, and we learn about Sigmar the God King. We have a collect and build article for the Spirit of Durthu, tactics pages for order and destruction, and our battle is Out of the Shadows. So, continuing exploration of the various death factions, this looks at the Soulblight Gravelords. The Soulblight Gravelords are vampire lords who rule over the beasts of the night, hordes of obedient shambling corpses. Their armies exude a morbid stench of putrefaction, and they march to the sound of 1,000 clattering bones. So yeah, the Soulblight curse is, some consider it a gift. You are immortal, but you are effectively immortally undead. You are then roped into service by Nagash to lead his various armies of the undead. We see a crimson-clad vampire lord of the Blood Knight dynasty there. He has a pet direwolf, horde of zombies and skeletons, fell bats, and even a zombie dragon there. So yeah, while you do have the benefit of living forever, you are in service to a greater evil, which is the god Nagash. And yeah, we have the different dynasties. So at the top of the pantheon of undead is Nagash, of course. We have the Legion of Night. These are the ones most commonly seen. Mostly the Necromancers. Legion of the Blood, these are the Blood Knights and vampires. The Vikos dynasty are very lupine or wolf sort of creatures. The Castelli dynasty are more given over to the bat side of things, and the Avangori dynasty are those that particularly like to be mounted on dragons and even give over to being half bat, half monster hybrids. So yeah, the vampires are lords of the night. They despise sunlight, and yeah, have various different undead mounts. So fell horses here mentions about their masses of death rattle skeletons and deadwalker zombies that they use to overwhelm the enemy, and they're not afraid to use creatures such as fell bats and dire wolves. So another campaign here. This is the Feast of Bones. So conflicts often break out over a struggle for supplies. For the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, bones are vital substance from which the soldiers are made. For the Ogre-Moor tribes, these bones are food, or usually a toothpick once you've finished your food. But yeah, here we have the forces generals in the campaign for the Feast of Bones. So we've got Kargruk Kineater, a very vicious ogre tyrant who isn't dissuade from eating his own kind, which is where he gets his name, the Kineater. And we've got Vok Mortian here, who is a master of the bone tithe, so he goes around making sure cities give them the bones they need to create new warriors. So if you've picked up your premium collector's kit, you will also have this guy in their collection. So yeah, the Tyrant's Gambit. Convinced of his own cunning, the new tyrant organised a parley with Vokmortian and the Bone Reapers. After luring them into a meeting under a flag of truce, he mocked Nagash's emissary before launching an all-out attack. And yeah, the Necropolis Stalkers were sent in. These guys are the most brutal up-close combat specialists. They were sent in to try and take down the Tyrant, but his bodyguard proved a little difficult to get through. And the final burial, so eventually Winged Mortarch Archai was sent in, and the Ogres fell back under the power protection of one of their scrap launchers and cannons there. Moving on then, we learn about Sigmar the God King. So, Sigmar Heldenhammer is the god of storms and of order. He is the ruler of the heavenly realm of Azir and the lord of its principal city, Azerheim. He rules over the free people of the cities of Sigmar and is held in high esteem across the mortal realms. So yeah, we've learned about Sigmar already in a few issues. He is, of course, the creator of the Stormcast Eternals. They are demigod warriors, effectively immortal, and he's lightning strike against the forces of chaos. He is a remnant of the world that was, which we have here. So, Genesis, in the ages past, there was another world, the world that was, until Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, rose and the world was destroyed by powers of chaos during an event called the End Times. The world was split up into the 8 winds of magic and scattered across the unknown universe. Sigmar, of course, gathered together many of the different gods and formed the pantheon of order, and used the remains of the world that was to create Azerheim, his home and kingdom. Of course, chaos is forever, and chaos continued to plague the realms. So Sigmar decided to take action and fought off against Archaon several times. The Pantheon of Order, of course, would crumble as we know a certain god of the death decided to decide he was more important than the combined forces. Then, of course, there are the Storm Vaults, which Sigmar locked away ancient relics and even full armies. And yeah, these have been uncovered. Several different ones have been uncovered across the most recent timeline. The Necroquake revealed some of these, and even recent events with Kragnos has caused more to be revealed. So we've got more about Stormcast here again. So these are spirits of ancient warriors reforged into demigod type beings and clad in the best armor and given the best weapons. Sounds like Space Marines. And of course, now we are in the Age of Sigmar, a constant era of war where chaos and destruction are ripe and order and death are order there's very little of, and death there's plenty. So yeah, we are definitely in an age of madness. Moving on then, we have a battle record for the Spirit of Durthu. Spirits of Durthu are colossal figures of wood, bark, and fury. They are immensely strong and formidable fighters. Their massive impaling talons are feared almost as much as their guardian swords. So yeah, they are allies of the Ever Queen. They descended from the great hero Durthu of the world that was. And yeah, so they serve Alariel as sworn protectors of the different groves of Sylvaneth. And yeah, Sons of Durthu are the elite bodyguard of the Everqueen, handpicked for their loyalty. So very specific ones that get a chance to bodyguard the Everqueen. So we actually have a chance to name our Spirit of Durthu. So for an example here, Dranoth, the Tangled Path. We got hero trait and his home glade there. And we've got some deeds that he might have done in battle. Moving on then, we have our build guide for the Spirit of Durthu. So we start by building his hips and waist joint. So we got the special loincloth area for him, his leg sections there. Then we build the knees and lower legs. One is put on this little plinth of a crashed Dwarden ship, I believe. And the other one sits on the flat there. Then we build up the torso, so we build up the back of the torso first, the two different halves. Then we glue on the front plate there, glue in the neck joint and his abdomen. And then we build up the arms, so one arm that will hold the sword, and the other arm with his massive talons there. Finally then, we build the head, glue in the back of the head and the top of the neck joint there, and glue the hand in, and there we're done. There will be plenty of leftover pieces, clip them off and keep them safe. They could come in handy for future projects. So yeah, next issue we learn about how to paint him and a tutorial all about dry brushing as well. So he's a pretty good model. You don't have to build him in sub-assemblies. You can pretty much reach all the different areas of him fully assembled. He's a nice imposing model that will look good in your army. Right, moving on then, we have our battle tactics. This one looks at the Stormstrike Chariot. So we know they're fast, they have strong abilities, both melee and ranged, but they are a single unit. And we also have units of Griffhounds here, so they're maneuverable. They have lots of attacks and the ability to retreat from an attack, thanks to darting attacks. But they are fragile, they don't have much in the way of armor, and they don't have a lot of wounds either. They're usually good for scouts, denying your opponent a chance to come in off a table edge, and to help control an objective. We have destruction tactics. This one looks at the Hobgrot Slitters. So they are bonuses. They have range attacks and plenty of models in their units. The downside is they aren't orcs, so they won't benefit from a lot of your Cruel Boy characters. And finally then we have the Marsh Crawler Slogoth here. So it's a durable unit. It has strong abilities to make your units better. And again, sadly, it's not an orc. But yeah, still, it's a nice support unit for your army. Right, pitched battle 20 is Out of the Shadows. So our alliance objectives. So we need to gain control of vital strategic points. And I believe in the next issue, we fight over a realm gate into the realm of Chamon. So our forces are the Arc Revenant, Knight Judicator, Ylfari, and the Guardians, Vigilors 5 and 5 Vindictors. Facing off against the Loom Boss, Fungoid Cave Shaman, Zarbag and his Gits, 20 shooters and 10 Gut Rippers. So yeah, we got 3 objective markers in a diagonal across the battlefield, deploying on the short edges of the map, although at the moment the maps are kind of equal, a little bit longer one side than the other. Replace the 6 pieces of the battlefield terrain, again usual, 3 inches away from objective markers and other terrain pieces. We have usual victory conditions, 1 for each, 1 point for a single marker, 1 point for 2 markers or more, and 1 point if we control every time an enemy unit is destroyed. So it's not the same, it's a little bit different. Models controlled by the order player cannot contest the objective in the order territory, and models controlled by the destruction player cannot contest the objective in the destruction territory. So it's kind of, you can't keep your home objective, but you have to go get your opponent's. Nice, not a nice little difference for the issue. So yeah, we have a battle map there. We won't go over that. I've been over that once or twice before. Of course, next issue, Spirit of Durthu, and issue 42, we have a brand new warband in the form of Moloch the Mighty. Moving on to 41 then. So, our full contents, we have Roman Metal, page 1, and we have a fold-out section, the armies. We also have a paint tutorial on how to dry brush, and we have our paint guide for painting the Spirit of Durthu. Finally then, we have our rules for Durthu, and we also have our first battle pack, the Scout Battle Pack. Moving up, right, focusing on the realm of metal. So, the bright sound of metal on metal rings out as vapours rise from twisted quicksilver rivers. This is Chamon, the realm of metal. In this mortal realm, the only constant is change. Travellers are confronted by transmuting vistas as they venture across the perilous shifting landscapes. So, yeah. The realm of metal is, of course, ever-changing, very favoured by the demon Tzeentch, but is often a home to the Dwarden of the mortal realms, most notably the Caradron overlords, who travel across the realm on their skyships collecting ether gold. It's also home to one of my favourite storm hosts, the Celestial Vindicators. As I previously mentioned, Chaos Forces of Tzeentch. So, the realm stone, not stoat, of Chamon is Shamanite. So, a rather silver sort of globe. Usually being able to defy gravity. Used in alchemy to create alloys with shifting properties. So we also have here the Land of Flux. Chamon is a realm defined by transformation. Just as the alchemist transmutes one wondrous substance into another, so does the magic of Chamon bring about great change. And there is, of course, constant war, as there is in all the realms. So, continual conflict on the ground and in the sky. Caradron overlords in their airships fight over the forces of chaos, and we'll soon be getting one of these. I think it's with issue 51 or 53. We get next premium kit, which is the Argonaut stuff. Can't wait for that. Moving on to this issue's paint guide then. So we're learning about dry brushing. So we have 2 dry brushes, a small one and a larger one. And learn how to clean your brush off. So it's important to keep your brushes in good condition. If paint dries, it will cause the bristles to flay and clump. And bring them back to life with these STC brushes. Wet the brush, add soap, and use circular motions to clean the bristles. And then, of course, give a thorough rinse out. And on the back, we got tutorials on how to dry brush. So load your brush with paint, work it into the bristles by wiping it off on a paper towel using crisscross and circular motions, making sure you haven't got too much on, and then gently flicking the brush across your models. So if you over dry brush like we've seen here, you can simply reshade the area and then give it another dry brushing. So yeah, pretty cool. Very handy tutorial. Right, moving on then, we paint the Spirit of Durthu. So we want to give a nice undercoat of Abaddon Black to help give nice dark depth to the woods that we'll be painting. Then we're working Catechin Flesh as a dry brush over the main body of the model, before we use Corax White to pick out the softer woods on the joints of the Tree Lord himself. And we also want to work it into the runes of the armor there as well. Take your time, there's quite a lot for the model, so just make sure you have a nice thinned amount of paint and a nice point to your brush. We've also got to paint his face, eye, and the cracked part of his mask there, and the sword of Corax White. Then we're using Inky by Darkness here to paint some of the growths coming off of him, and Rune Lord Brass to pick out the brass details on his sword hilt. Auric Flesh to used to paint the various bits of leaf over the model, so the small leaves, the loincloth, his hair, and the grip on his sword. And then Wraith Bone is used to pick out the skulls, as well as any areas of bone, including his face mask and his claws. Finally, Retributor Armor is used to pick out the crashed bits of Dwarden ship there, and then Catechin Flesh to pick out the mud around it. Then we start to shade the model, so non-oil is used to shade the leaf tabard at the front, as well as the Inky by Darkness areas. Agrax Earthshade is used to shade the brass details. Nathanian Camera Shade is used on all the green areas. Finally, Griff Charger Grey is used to paint the soft wood, and Griffhound Orange is used to paint over all of those engraved details, as well as his face and the sword. Looks okay. I think could do with a yellow dry brush on top to help pick out the detail a bit better. Maybe it'll be done in a future issue. Then Rhinoceros Flesh Shade is used for the talons and the mask. I kind of like the mask as it was with just the Wraith Bone, and also painting that gold detail there. And that's what your Spirit of Durthu will look like at this moment in the collection. So yeah, we're definitely going to be adding a lot more detail to him. He's not 100% complete. There's definitely more for us to do in future issues, but he is looking pretty cool. Definitely going to... Yeah, I'm still not so sure how I'm going to do it for myself. It's nice that they haven't attached all the little creatures, but you can, if you want to, just look at different various pictures of him. But yeah, pretty cool. If you're just using what you get, the paints you get in the collection, it's a pretty good method. But yeah, with my vast collection of paints, I can probably do something a little different. Then we have our rules for him. So he has a movement of 5, a mighty 14 wounds, an insane bravery of 9, and a 3+ save. So he's pretty durable. So he can attack with the Verdant Blast, a 15-inch range, 6 attacks, which degrades over time. 4+ to hit, 3+ to wound, -1 rend and 2 damage. His Guardian Sword is a 3-inch range, 3 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, -2, and its damage dependent on the amount of wounds he suffered. So 6 down to D6, down to D3, and down to 1. And his talons are 1 inch, 2 attacks, 2+2 hit. The wound roll depends on the wounds he's taken. 2 rend and 3 damage. So we have Ground Shaker. You can carry out the Monstrous Rampage instead of any other Monstrous Rampage. Pick an enemy unit within 3 inches on a 3+, they are suffered with Strike Last. So he has the Spirit Pass ability at the start of your movement phase. If you are within 6 inches of an overgrown terrain feature or Awakened Wildwood, it can walk the Spirit Pass instead of making a move. Remove it from the battlefield and place it within 6 inches of a different terrain feature that is overgrown or an Awakened Wildwood. So luckily, if you had the Sylvaneth collection premium kit from Mortal Realms, that actually came with a printed out version of a Awakened Wildwood. So yeah, you might have one of those hopefully sitting around. If not, I'm sure somebody could scan it and you can print one off yourself. But of course, you would like, the best thing to do is to have an actual proper model to make the battlefield look more alive. And finally, he has Wrathful Guardian here. Add 1 to your attacks whilst you are within 9 inches of a overgrown terrain feature or Awakened Wildwood. Then we have tutorials for all his different abilities there. And a note that he can gain the Sylvaneth Battle Trait ability there. Next up then we have the first of our battle packs. So this is the Scout Battle Pack. So find rules of battle packs in rules 1928. So we got how to use the battle pack. And our first battle plan is Scouting Through the Gate. So let's flip over and see how we do this. So the Alliance of Order has a first option, which is Lord Imperatant and 5 Vindictors. Then they have 2 sub-options. So option 1, you can take one of the units listed below, either the Spirit of Durthu or Knight Arcanum. And option 2, take one of the units, either 4 Praetors or a Stormstrike Chariot. So yeah, so you get 1 choice out of there and 1 choice out of there. So that's not too bad. And then for the Alliance of Destruction, you start with a Loom Boss, 10 Hogwarts Letters and 20 Shooters. You can add either a Swampcaller Shaman and Pokrot or Marshcaller Slogoth. And add Manskewer Bolt Boys or the Beast Skewer Killbow. So yeah, nice way we can start having a bit of choice about creating armies. And our battle plan then. So we have a realm gate line where we're crossing over from one realm into our new realm there. And yeah, we got the special rule for the realm gate. At the end of each battle round, any models standing on the line are killed. Ouch, not very nice. So you got to make sure you either cross over or stay on your home side. And yeah, we got a little bit of a playthrough here on how the magazine team actually played out this battle. So into the future, we got Molog and his mob, and we got our tree revenants in issue 43, so 5 new tree models to add to our collection. And finally then, just quickly, we got the armies of Chamon. So ones we're getting are the Karajan Overlords, pretty cool guys. Of course, there's the Disciples of Tzeentch, the Celestial Vindicators. Nice map of the Spiral Crux there, and some of the very important areas. So Baraknar, the City of the First Sunrise, Griffin's Eyrie, Scrapper Spill, and the God's Claw. And a couple more different factions. So of course, the Loomspike Gits are always ready for a scrap. And the Iron Golems are cultists dedicated to a Chaos God who is known as, they wish one day to be the personal smiths to Archaon, so they worship a chaos being known as the Iron Golem. And yeah, they have very heavy armor and brutal weapons. Alright, let's bring it all back in and we'll have our final thoughts on these very special issues. So there we have it. Thank you for enjoying this rather special bumper-ish episode of Stormbringer. Yeah, really good issue. This is the biggest kit we've got so far. I think it might even be the biggest non-premium kit in the collection. Because yeah, Spirit of Durthu is a mighty size kit. Definitely the largest non-terrain piece that we're getting. I think some of the Guardian statue detail pieces are bigger, but not by a lot. He's still a rather impressive model. Nice lot of background we get in this issue. Nice bumper paint guide. We learn more about dry brushing, which we've only done in small amounts so far on a few terrain pieces. But yeah, it's nice we get an in-depth guide. Nice that we also get how to care for your brushes. And yeah, a nice bumper paint guide for painting Spirit of Durthu himself. And yeah, it's nice that we are getting an actual battle pack, which will change up things. So we're not going to be told what to take. We actually start to choose now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, all in all, I'm looking forward to going and building this kit and giving it a wonderful paint job. So yeah, let me know what you thought of issues 40 and 41 in the comment sections down below. How have you got on with your Spirit of Durthu? Have you ever built one of these before? And how did you build yours? Let me know in the comment section. We'll have a good conversation natter. So yeah, there we have it. Thank you again for watching, and until next time. Stay safe and join me for more mad content. Goodbye.